Peace is the delta between wars. I just never expected the next one to start on my own front lawn. Willow Creek Estates, they called it. A sanctuary carved out of the California hills. All manicured hedges and identical mailboxes whispering promises of security. It was 11:17 on a Sunday morning, the kind of sun-drenched quiet that suburban life sells as its ultimate reward. Lawnmowers hummed a few blocks over. Sprinklers traced lazy arcs across impossibly green grass. And the air smelled sweet with honeysuckle, almost cloying, deceptive. They didn't call me General Thorne anymore. Here I was just Marcus, the quiet guy in the corner house, the one wrestling with unruly hydrangeas instead of insurgents. But 32 years of service leave scars deeper than any metal can cover. The general was still there beneath the surface, scanning the quiet street, logging the unfamiliar black sedan parked halfway down the block, noting the way the driver didn't get out. Instincts honed sharp in places like Baghdad and Kandahar screamed that complacency was a luxury bought with blood, often someone else's. I'd seen enough fragile peace shatter to know it was never guaranteed, merely rented on borrowed time. All I wanted now was the specific fragile version of it. Not truly for myself. Peace and I were at best uneasy acquaintances, but fiercely, desperately for Olivia, my 10-year-old daughter. Freckled nose, hazel eyes bright with fierce curiosity, currently executing elaborate figure eights on her pink bicycle, humming a Taylor Swift song completely off-key. Her yellow t-shirt read, "Science is my superpower." In so many ways, she was mine. The anchor holding me to this quiet corner of the world, the reason I traded fatigues for gardening gloves. "Stay inside the driveway, Liv," I called out, keeping my voice deliberately light, practiced in its ease. "I know, Daddy," she sang back, her voice bright as the morning, circling the innocent-looking mailbox like it was a docking station for a spaceship. Watching her, the California sun warm on my face, the ever-present tension coiled deep in my shoulders eased just a fraction. For one stupid heartbeat, the illusion held. The quiet felt real, the safety absolute, the fatal mistake of a soldier forgetting he was still, always, inevitably on watch. The fragile moment lasted precisely 3 seconds before shattering like spun glass. A flash of white at the far end of the cul-de-sac. An SUV, clinical, anonymous, utterly wrong for the lazy Sunday morning vibe. No plates, windows tinted to an impenetrable black. My momentary ease evaporated, replaced by the familiar icy prickle of high alert. It crawled forward, engine unnervingly quiet, stopping directly parallel to my driveway with a soft sigh of hydraulics. The illusion of Willow Creek's sanctuary dissolved. 2 men emerged, moving with a coordinated efficiency that screamed something other than civic duty. Tactical vests, stark black against the bright day, bore cheap white stenciled letters. Aegis Community Solutions. One was tall, wiry, with eyes like chips of flint set in a lean face. Julian Croft, though I didn't know his name then. The other was a fireplug, barrel-chested with a thick reddish beard and fists like concrete blocks, the one I'd later know only as Brick. They didn't look like HOA enforcers. They looked like soldiers, albeit mercenaries in ill-fitting costumes. I put the garden hose down slowly, deliberately stepping forward, placing myself between them and Olivia. "Is there a problem, gentlemen?" My voice was parade ground steady, a practiced calm that was pure reflex now. Croft, the tall one, produced a laminated plastic badge, flashing it briefly. "Routine HOA sweep. Aegis Community Solutions," he recited, his tone flat. "Bored. We had a report of an unregistered recreational vehicle." He flicked a dismissive glance toward Olivia's pink bicycle. "That's my daughter's bicycle," I stated, keeping my tone neutral, measuring them. Their stance, the way they scanned the surroundings, not just my property, but the whole street. Croft didn't flinch. "We'll still need to verify residency." "Is this your property, sir?" There, that question. Too direct, too probing for a simple violation check. It wasn't protocol, it was assessment. Cold certainty washed over me. These men are not HOA. They are predators. My weight shifted subtly, preparing, but I underestimated their speed, their objective. Before I could voice the challenge hardening in my throat, Brick exploded into motion, not toward me, toward Olivia. He covered the 10 yards of lawn with terrifying speed. Olivia let out a startled yelp that turned into a high-pitched scream as he grabbed her, yanking her brutally off the bike. She hit the pavement with a sickening scrape. "Not her. Not her." Raw fury surged through me. "Hey!" I roared, charging forward. In my peripheral vision, Mrs. Gable's curtain across the street twitched violently. Her pale, horrified face appeared, eyes wide, mouth open. Then Brick shot a venomous glare in her direction, sharp and dangerous as broken glass. She vanished instantly, terrorized into silence. Calculated. My training surged. Closed the distance. Neutralized the threat closest to Olivia. I might have deflected Croft as he moved to intercept, sending him stumbling back, but Brick reacted with brutal pragmatism. He twisted, hauling Olivia partly in front of him. One massive forearm clamped across her small chest, cutting off her cries. Her terrified eyes locked on mine, and I froze. Decades of combat conditioning screamed, attack. But the sight of her, fragile and utterly helpless in that monster's grip, short-circuited every instinct except protecting my child. Croft recovered quickly, his hand now holding a black taser, its menacing red laser dot dancing on my chest. "Back away, sir," he commanded, voice tight, the practiced calm fraying. "You're interfering with an official compliance operation." My hands came up slightly, palms out, a gesture of appeasement I didn't feel, buying milliseconds to think. "All right," I forced out, my voice rough. "All right, just don't hurt her. Please." Brick was already dragging Olivia, who was now sobbing hysterically, toward the waiting SUV, its rear door ominously open. "She's being taken to the Aegis Processing Center," he shouted over the noise. "Notification of infraction and retrieval procedures will follow." More hollow jargon from their twisted playbook. They reached the vehicle. They shoved her inside. The thud of the door slamming shut echoed like a gunshot in the quiet street. It severed my last thread of control. With a guttural roar, I lunged. The world exploded in pure, agonizing white light. The taser probes hit square in my chest. It wasn't just pain. It was violation. Every nerve ending screamed, every muscle locked in a violent, agonizing seizure. It felt like my skeleton was trying to rip its way out through my skin. I crashed face first onto the lawn, the scent of cut grass filling my nostrils as I choked, completely paralyzed, utterly helpless. Through the blurring static in my vision, I saw the SUV lurch away from the curb, tires squealing on the asphalt. Olivia's terrified cries grew fainter, swallowed by the accelerating engine. And then one last thing cut through the haze before darkness consumed me. Croft's voice, sharp, chillingly clear, almost triumphant. "Violation 7 Gamma confirmed." The nonsensical phrase burned itself into my collapsing consciousness as the world went black. Blackness slowly bled into a throbbing systemic agony. The coppery taste of dirt filled my mouth and the scent of crushed grass was sharp in my nostrils. My chest felt hollowed out, scorched from the inside, every muscle fiber screaming from the taser's brutal voltage. Violation 7 Gamma. The meaningless phrase echoed in the disorienting fog. Then, colder and sharper than the receding pain, the reality crashed down. Olivia. Gone.